This is a Sasquatch doc series. Sasquatch. The Renaissanceman encounter. In the heart of British Columbia, a soft breeze rustles the leaves, and in the distance, a tree crack echoes through the wilderness. There are things in this world that defy explanation. Shadows that move when no one's looking. Voices in the wind that whisper secrets in a language lost to time. For most, these are just tales, legends passed down through generations. But for one man, these legends became a terrifying reality. Renaissanceman, a man who spent his childhood wandering the forests of Nova Scotia, snaring rabbits and hunting small game. He was always alone, or so he thought. Even as a boy, he would hear voices, strange, garbled sounds echoing through the trees. At the time, he couldn't understand them, but now, after years of research, he knows the truth. He was hearing the language of the Sasquatch. A distant howl echoes through the trees. For years, he believed. Sasquatch, aliens, the unknown, he spoke of them openly, despite being met with ridicule. But one encounter changed everything. One encounter proved him right. Picturesque shot of British Columbia's mountains, the sun dipping behind the peaks. Renaissanceman is shown walking through the wilderness, collecting fiddleheads, scanning for signs of bears. The camera lingers on the small details, a snapped tree limb, an unusual footprint in the mud, the sound of distant rustling. It was a perfect spring day. Renaissanceman was deep in the mountains of British Columbia, foraging for wild edibles, fiddleheads, skunk cabbage, anything the bears would be feeding on. He was preparing for a spring bear hunt. But as the sun set behind the trees, an unease settled in, the feeling of being watched, a primal instinct warning him. He was not alone. A branch cracks loudly. Renaissanceman, his eyes scanning the tree line. A shadow moves just for a second before vanishing. He shakes it off, finishes his meal, and retires to his small, one-person tent. Darkness falls over the forest. The night was silent until it wasn't. At 3 a.m., the camera cuts to inside the tent. The only sound is Renaissanceman's slow, measured breathing, then a soft, deliberate footstep outside. Another, then. A hand presses firmly against the fabric of the tent, indenting it just inches from his face. Silence, then a heartbeat sound effect. Fear, unlike anything he had ever known, took hold. Every nerve screamed to run, but his body refused to move, shotgun in hand, yet it brought him no comfort. He wasn't dealing with a bear. He wasn't dealing with anything he had prepared for. The tension builds. Then, summoning every ounce of courage, he burst from the tent and sprinted to his vehicle. The moment he slammed the door and locked it, he turned to look back. And that's when he saw it. A dramatic reveal, a tall, hulking figure covered in thick, dark hair.
Oh my God, it is! It's probably the same Sasquatch. You know how like graffiti artists have a specific, what do you call it, signature? Maybe Sasquatch do the same things, like they have a specific thing they do to mark their territory, and this one belongs to that specific Sasquatch.
Could be, yeah. Someone once told me too that they actually know when you're gonna be in the forest at certain times, and they will create structures knowing that you will see them. So this, folks, is the location that made me, just that verified everything for me. It verified that when I was a kid talking about Sasquatch, always believing of Sasquatch, being made fun of by my peers and stuff, this is the location that verified that I was not crazy. I am not crazy. These things are real. This location where the Jeep is right there, this is where I was camped. I was out here in the spring. Right now it's January, so it's a bit different. The river's not flowing like normal, and that was the worst part of it. I couldn't hear anything because of the river flowing. But we just got here. We pulled up, and I looked here, and this was meant to be seen, obviously, by us. I've never seen this structure here before. I'm gonna walk around this first, and then I will show you guys the camp area where I was. So I sat by the fire over there. I was eating steak and fiddleheads, and I did keep hearing something in this patch of forest behind me, and I just kind of blew it off as, I don't know, a falling branch or a bear or something wandering around. But I kept hearing branches breaking in this area, and it's very funny now that I'm here again to revisit that this big structure is here. It's almost like a blind. Some Devil's Club here I gotta look out for. We got some Devil's Club here, Skylee. Skylee's favorite natural medicine. Lots of Devil's Club. It's almost like a TP type structure in here. Maybe they left me something. Look in here, there's like, this is pure sand. Just random sand here. right, we gotta walk over there. So I was out bear hunting, set up camp. I sat down, enjoyed a nice meal. Like I said, the twig breaking and all that stuff happened. And then went to bed around probably 10, 11. And then I was awoken to something pressing down on my tent. Like pushing down on the tent, and this is just a little tiny, it was like a 1 or 2 person tent, and I was just froze up. I couldn't really move. I was froze up there in my tent. I had a shotgun with me. It did not help make me feel safer. I kept hearing footsteps as well walking around the tent, and I built up all the courage I could and finally just exited the tent and jumped straight in my vehicle. So my vehicle would have been right here. I had a small little tent pitched right here, right next to this bush. It was a bit more full in the spring. And again, this river, this creek here was flowing. It was really loud and flowing. What is that? Some footsteps there. Man, those are huge. I guess that would be an elk. Looks like big elk prints. They must be crossing from here to there. Big hoof. I like these little sandy areas. You can sometimes get some good prints. Get back up there and continue on. We'll send the drone up too, and you guys can see the area from aerial footage. This has fallen off a bit. There was a lot more of the ground here when I was here. A lot of it's fell down with water erosion. Yeah, so it took everything out of me just to leave this tent here and to jump in the vehicle there. And I slowly backed up. Actually, I didn't back up because I always back in so I can get a fast getaway out. So I slowly crept out forward, got to about the main road there, turned back, and the figure was standing just right in here, literally feet from my tent. It was about, I'm gonna say about 6 foot tall. Fairly skinny. The creature was skinny. But earlier in the day, I remember I did walk right into this patch of forest here, and I actually got attacked by a robin. Believe it or not, I got attacked by a robin. So I walked in here, and there was a nest, a robin's nest, and I guess it had eggs. This robin flew out of there and just started zooming at me and dive bombing me. It was intense. Not gonna lie. Forget where the nest was. It was right around here somewhere. But yeah, this is the patch of the forest where I think the Sasquatch came through too and got over to my campsite. Just gonna We'll look around a bit closer here. It's really cool to see that big structure right across the road. Yeah, I left everything. I left the tent. I left all my camping gear. And again, this is about 3 in the morning. I left all the camping gear, and then I traveled up the forest road even deeper and just stayed in the Jeep the entire day until like evening, that evening. And then I finally came back down through and gathered up my gear and got out of here. But that's what verified it for me. That was my first visual encounter. And I've had a second visual encounter. We will revisit that site as well in an upcoming video. But I just wanted to bring you guys here and show you firsthand the area where we are. Got the aerial footage. And it's getting a little cold out here. I'm going to start making my way back. And the fishermen out there, they probably know this area if they're local fishermen. What do we got there? A tin can or something. Good tin can. I'll keep that. Galvanized. All right, that's really it. That's where it all began, where it all happened. We gotta go check out an abandoned cabin before dark, so stay tuned. And you ready to check out the abandoned cabin?
Yo, is that a cave up there in that mountain, or a sleeping den, you think?
Oh, let me change the camera. Skylee spotted something looks like a cave. That's funny too. That's where they would probably be, and this is where I first heard the noise, was on this side of the road earlier in the evening. You can kind of see a little dark spot there. Hard to say without hiking up there. That right there, folks, could potentially be where they are living. It's really cold out. It's like -5. Personally, I don't know if the Sasquatch are as active in the winter like this, but I haven't really heard as much sign as normal, being winter time and all. But maybe we'll go for a little walk tonight around our camp. We probably will be leaving there tomorrow.
Standing perfectly still by the creek, just 20 feet from his tent. Its presence was unnatural, almost as if it were trying to disappear into the background. But it was too late. Renaissanceman had seen it, and it had seen him. A chilling pause. The camera lingers on a silhouette in the trees, watching. panic took hold. He drove away slowly at first, his eyes never leaving the creature. But as soon as he rounded the bend, he floored it, leaving behind everything, his tent, his gear, everything. He did not return until daylight, and even then, every step was taken with the creeping fear that he was still being watched. Renaissanceman, standing in the daylight, looking over the remnants of his campsite, knowing without a doubt what he saw was real. For those who refuse to believe, for those who call it myth, ask yourself this: what would you do if the legend stared back?
I gotta go explore that.